Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching today. This video is on a classic bridal look. It's the first video in my bridal series, so I hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to start off by carving out my brows. I'm using the Be Perfect priming base. So I'm just going to take that completely across the eye. I've already filled in my eyebrows a little bit. I've got them microbladed, so I don't need to do much to them. I'm going to do a different video just explaining how I do style my eyebrows with microblading. But yeah, just take the eyeshadow base across the whole of the eye. It's very important that we use a base just generally when doing makeup, but especially for bridal makeup, because we want the eyeshadow to last all day and all night. And I'm buffing it in with a fluffy brush. I'm now taking this little eyeshadow palette from Estee Lauder. It's their Pure Colour Envy Eye and Cheek palette. This palette I'm using at the moment is the nude one. So I'm taking the shade Bronze Goddess Medium, and I'm just using a little Spectrum blending brush to put that in the outer corner of my eye, and then taking a more fluffy brush to blend that out. With this bridal look, I want everything to be quite seamless and blended, no harsh lines or shapes. So it just takes a lot of work back and forth with making sure that the colour has been completely blended. And like I said, we don't want any sharp lines. So I'm now taking my Carnival XL Pro palette, and I'm going to take the shade Vex, which is a cool tone dark brown, and I'm placing that just on the outer edge of my eye with a small blending brush. I'm going to concentrate the colour just on the outer edge because I want to give that smoked out winged effect. And I'm taking my Spectrum brush to blend that all together. This is the brush that I originally used to put my bronze shade on with. Again, you can see here that I'm just concentrating the colour right on the outer edge. Okay, so also out of my Pro palette, I'm going to take the colour Lights Out, which is a black, and I'm just dabbing a tiny bit onto my outer corner just to create a little bit of depth. I don't want to put too much because I don't want it to be a real dark smoky eye. With bridal makeup, you always have to go a little bit heavier than what you're probably comfortable with, just because you want your makeup to show up in photos. You don't want to look washed out or anything. So that's why I've taken that little bit of black just to deepen the eye look a bit more. And now I'm taking this pigment from Makeup Geek and applying it with a flat fluffy brush. The shade is Light Year and it is a white pigment. It's absolutely gorgeous and is definitely probably one of my favourite pigments to use, especially for doing bridal. I've gone quite natural with this today, but if you did want something a bit more defined, you could always cut your crease with your priming base first and then put this pigment on. It's completely up to you. I just felt like for today's look I wanted it to be more softer rather than more defined and sharp. So I'm just going back in with a little bit more of that Vexed colour from my Pro palette just to make sure everything's blended nicely. The key to this look really is to just add a little bit of colour at a time and just keep blending with it. So now I'm just going to line my upper lash line. I'm lining it with a dark brown liner. I'm using a brown rather than a black just because The eye makeup is quite soft, and if I was going to use black now, I think it would take the eye to a completely different level. It would probably take it from being bridal to a bit more of a night out look. So now I'm going to take this smudger brush from Zoeva and I'm just going to run it across the top of where we've put that brown eyeliner and just smudge it out, which will create a nice blended out eyeliner effect. So now I'm just cleaning up underneath my eyes, making sure that everything is nice and clean. And then just coating my lashes with a bit of mascara, ready to put on my false lashes. Whenever I do bridal, I do always use waterproof mascara, but for today, I'm just using my Bad Llama mascara from Be Perfect Cosmetics. The lashes that I'm using today are probably a little bit more dramatic than what I would usually recommend for a bride for a wedding day, but obviously it's personal preference. These were just some that I had to hand and I thought, yeah, I'll whack them on, why not? Usually, if I'm honest, I do suggest that brides have individual lashes just because you know that they're not gonna irritate you or annoy you throughout the day. And then I'm just gonna put a bit of eyeliner in my upper waterline. This one is the Inglot gel liner and it is hands down the best gel liner around. And then I'm taking a bit of translucent powder and just popping that on my brow bone. I like to use translucent powder rather than highlighter or something, just because I think it creates more of a softer finish. So now I'm lining my waterline with a bit of P. Louise base. This I believe is number 0.5. And then for underneath the eye, I'm going to use the shadows that I used on the top of my eye. So I'm going in with the Bronze Goddess first, taking that across the whole bottom of the eye, and then I'm using a bit of the darker shadow just to do the outer corner, and then a bit of mascara to finish off the eye look. Okay, so now for my face. So my foundation that I always use is MAC Studio Fix Fluid. I really like using this foundation for all of my brides, just because I find you can really build it up. I've put quite a bit of foundation on my brush because I wanted a bit more of a full coverage for this look today. And then I'm just taking my flat brush and a bit more foundation to carve out the top of my brows and make sure I haven't missed anything around there. And now I'm doing a bit of concealing and a bit of highlighting, and for that I'm going to be using my Lasting Perfection concealer by Collection, and I'm using the shade Cool Fair, which is 1A. And I'm taking this underneath my eye and down my nose, a little bit on my forehead, on my cupid's bow and on my chin. And then I'm just buffing it in with this concealer brush. So now I'm just doing a slight nose contour. If you watched my previous video, then you know that I don't like to go too mad on my nose contour. I just think I look silly when I do a really dramatic contour on my nose. But just a little bit doesn't harm anyone. Then for my contour, I'm going to be doing a cream contour to begin with, using my Sculpting Touch Creamy Stick Contour Stick from Kiko. and buffing that in with my brush from Spectrum. I'm now taking just a bit of translucent powder just to set my face. A lot of people love to bake, but I'm not a fan of baking for bridal looks, to be honest, because I think it can appear sometimes too bright underneath the eye. And just taking that light year pigment and popping it in my inner corner to brighten up. Then to warm up the face, I'm using the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade Deep Cool. And then I'm taking my angled brush here just to deepen that contour up a little bit more. And then I'm just buffing that in with my powder brush just to make sure that my contour isn't too dramatic. So this is another Pure Colour MV palette from Estee Lauder, and this is the Blush Rebel Rose shade from their Glam palette. And then a bit of MAC highlighter, as always from me. Literally the only shade I ever use is Soft and Gentle because I just absolutely adore it. Now I'm going in with my eyebrow pencil from Revolution. This is the Microblades in Effect one. It's in the shade Ebony. And I'm just using it to create a few little hair strokes just to kind of make the eyebrow appear a little bit more natural. So now for my lip liner, I'm using Soar by MAC. Once I've lined the lips, I'm then going to take my lipstick, also from MAC, in the shade Faux, which is an absolutely stunning pink colour. And then just a little bit of Myth, which is a very nude colour, but I like to add this because I think it creates a little bit of definition to the lips. So guys, this is the finished look for my classic bridal look. If you liked it, then please like the video and subscribe to my page. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.